can I have a double, animal style, and a chocolate shake?
There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes at 90 Days to MoMA, and a few days ago we gave you a little bit of a sneak peek of our workflow and what happens after we finish editing a day's episode and how we get it kind of uploaded to Facebook and YouTube and submitted to Apple and all of that stuff. The other thing that you've seen is a lot of art recently, because it is very important to me that I continue to produce art and evolve as an artist, because I want to get into MoMA and be recognized as a legitimate artist. I don't just want to hack or sneak my way in and my marketing prowess or whatever be the only reason. I want it to be legit art. So it's very important to me that I continue to make art. But what we haven't talked a lot about recently, and this is something that's going to change in this episode, is the actual goal of getting into MoMA at the end of the 90 days, because that is really that's what it all comes down to, and that's why we're doing all of this. And so everything else, the marketing or the workflow of uploading the videos or producing the art, that is all necessary, but that's not the only thing that we're doing to try to get into MoMA. So I want to talk about a few kind of different two pillars, basically, that we are exploring and why I'm still wildly optimistic that we're going to be successful. So there's kind of two pillars. One of them is very specific niche targeting, and one is broad targeting. And I'll go into each of them. In the niche targeting, this is trying to really introduce myself or this project or my art to a few key decision makers. These are a small group of people that ultimately could be decision makers for actually getting into MoMA or have intimate knowledge of how that process works. And so that is kind of divided into two categories. There is board of directors of MoMA, and then there's also artists that are in MoMA. And we have a few potential leads we're working for intros, but I don't just want to rely on those. I'm going to continue to pursue any introductions I can get to people like that. And so we have that, and so we're working the intro angle, and also we are working a hyper-targeted Facebook advertising angle, which is brand new and just starting, but I want to make sure that people in high-profile positions are constantly being exposed to the project so that they know what we're doing. On the other side of things, we also have kind of a broad audience, and it's actually still pretty targeted because it's targeted to San Francisco. And this group is interesting for two reasons. Number one, it could get more viewers for the project, which is great. Number two, it could get attention of those people maybe in this other group that could ultimately make the decisions of letting us into MoMA. And with that particular group, the goal is to create so much buzz and so much awareness about this project that MoMA has to pay attention. At the end of the day, MoMA is a business, and I believe that if I can create a big enough pool of people that are excited and aware and rooting for the project to be successful, I think at some point that could gain enough momentum that it actually could lead to getting into MoMA. So we have those two categories. Now, in this broad category, there's actually a few different things that we're doing, and I want to tell you about that too. Just like over here with the niche targeting, we're doing some broader targeting advertising. Again, this is kind of a new thing. Facebook advertising has been my jam for a while, but I wanted to get 30 days under my belt with this project so that when people see it, whether it's MoMA employees or other SF artists or curators or gallery owners, I want them to see that momentum of being 1/3 of the way done and powering through and still having a lot of tricks up our sleeve and momentum and excitement about the project. And so we're doing some Facebook advertising there that's much broader targeting. The other thing that we're going to start this week, I think, I'm not sure. I've started setting it in motion, but I haven't turned it live yet. But I actually want to create a petition on change.org that will basically be a petition that says, I think Blake's art should be in SFMOMA. And everyone will have their own reasons for signing it or not signing it, and that's fine. I believe that if I can get tons and tons and tons, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of signatures, then it would be pretty hard for MoMA to ignore, because those are people that potentially would be coming to MoMA to see my art if it got into the museum. And so the petition is definitely another kind of broad targeting thing, but could have a direct impact on getting into MoMA. Another thing that we're doing, which maybe straddles the line of broad and niche, but I want to start working with more influencers. And at first, when I started this project, I wanted to collaborate with as many local artists as I could. And I still want to do that. And I've really enjoyed working with the artists that I've had over to the studio. But having Murray over yesterday was really eye-opening because even though he's not an artist, being able to teach him art and sit down and talk and pick his brain about the marketing side of things really revealed to me that influencers have a tremendous amount of influence in general. And so I think that there are a lot of influencers that live in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so I'm going to start reaching out to them and offering to collaborate. Rather than just asking, hey, tweet about my project, write about my project, it's going to be way more of a team effort saying, hey, I'm doing this cool project. I think you might enjoy it. I'd love to have you over to my studio and we will paint a picture together and you can keep it. And then during the day, during the conversation, they can learn more about the project and choose whether or not they want to promote it. And then the other thing that we're doing for broad marketing is PR. So we're doing traditional PR. We have a publicist that is pitching the story, has written a press release, and pitching the story to local and nationwide media. And we also have a publicity stunt that we've come up with, which I really can't tell you about right now because it's like a surprise thing. It's going to be awesome, but it's definitely a broad targeting thing that could be really interesting. We probably wouldn't actually execute that for another month because it would take a lot of planning, but again, falls into this broad category targeting. So those are the two pillars that we're kind of focusing on, the niche targeting and the broad targeting, and I believe that if I'm not painting, which I still want to continue to do as much as possible, any task that I'm executing myself, I want to try and be in line with something in one of those two pillars. With 60 days left, it really feels like crunch time to me. I mean, it's always felt like that. There's not a day that can be wasted, but we're 1/3 of the way there, and we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm ready and willing and able to do the work. I just need to execute for the next 60 days in a row, and hopefully almost all of my efforts outside of the actual painting and art creation part will fall into one of those two categories. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit more of what we're doing and what I'm focused on in terms of making sure that I reach my goals, because that is what I want to do. I want to reach my goals and I want to inspire you to chase and reach your goals. I'm Blake Jameson. Thank you so much for watching 90 Days to MoMA. Stay awesome. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?